Hey everyone, welcome back to Women-Splain, where we unravel the threads of today's most intriguing topics. And if you don't remember, I'm Brooke.
And I am Sola. And today's episode, we're asking a tantalizing question. Is luxury the new cryptocurrency? So we'll definitely explore the different high fashion, beauty, and why investing in luxury might be the new trend. It's, of course, one of my favorite topics to talk about. Not crypto, but luxury. So I'd love to, delve into this topic further.
Well, obviously, this very cute little suit on. I feel like it was a very appropriate outfit choice for this discussion. But just start us off, let's start with a huge, staggering figure. So the global luxury market is now valued at an incredible $368 billion.
Wow.
Which is insane. And this includes everything from exclusive designer wear to beauty products. And luxury, it also isn't really about maybe necessarily glitz or glamour, especially if we've known kind of the quiet luxury trend that obviously took over everything for the past few years.
Thanks, Sofia Richie.
Sophia Richie, exactly. Crediting her for starting that, which is awesome. But it's a huge industry, has deep roots, high stakes, and has continued to grow a ton even in recent years. So what is really fueling this growth, we think? Is it the quality of the goods? Is it exclusivity? Or is it really just kind of consumerism and trends?
Yeah, no, totally. And of course, speaking about stories, every luxury brand has its own story. And we know that, these luxury products aren't just products. They're narratives wrapped in silk, leather, sparkly things, which we like, which speaks really volumes about their history, culture, art, name it. So today we'll delve into these stories and see how they contribute to the value of these luxury brands. So maybe we can talk a little bit about some of our favorites as case studies, looking at historically and today and just moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a great starter is Chanel. I know Sola's a huge fan of it. And obviously it's probably the most recognizable luxury brand in the world, I would say. It's not just a brand, it's really an emblem, I think, of luxury. And often, the first Chanel bag, it really is like an emblem of making it, especially for women. I know it's a large trend for kind of the first expensive thing you buy. And investing in a Chanel handbag might actually even be necessarily more lucrative than investing in Bitcoin or maybe other alternative asset classes. And we'll talk about this with kind of a detailed case study there, kind of comparing the investment returns of Chanel products against some of the volatility and the waves there of crypto. Now I think cryptocurrency has bounced back slightly. And, back in 2020, 2021, it reached heights of Bitcoin expenses, etc. NFTs became a huge trend and it really did crash. It's now climbing back up, but still, really has not reached the highest it was in a few years ago. While Chanel, kind of in comparison of it. So Chanel increases bag prices recently again last March.
Yep.
So the classic lambskin flap, which is probably the most, emblematic and most classic, is now retailing for more than $10,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Which is insane, which I know you have one. Do you even know what you bought it for?
So I got it a couple of years ago. I have the boy bag, not the lambskin flap. But I got that, I think it was like 5 or 6.
And that's way more expensive now too.
And I think I got that maybe 2 years ago. 2-3 years. No, before COVID. Around maybe 4 years ago. And I remember going to the Soho store in New York. Of course, it was the biggest investment I've made at that point in my life.
Huge.
And I remember talking to my parents. I got it, I think, with my internship money or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had to convince my parents that I was gonna buy this, and they're it's so expensive. Of course, my mom has a bunch, but I'm I need one. I'll buy it myself. And then I was talking to my parents, and they're thank God you got it then. Imagine if you got it now. The same boy bag is $10K now too.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's only 4 years ago, which is nuts. And they even increased bag prices again last March, which is absolutely wild.
And they do it twice a year.
They do it twice a year. So now retails for $10,200, which is up 16% from the $8,800 earlier last year.
Right.
So it's absolutely insane. And, this is obviously a recognizable strategy. It happens with luxury everywhere.
Right.
Because effectively, like anything, price is demand. And so once something becomes more popular, it's already expensive. And the popularity increases, the prices go up too. So Blondo, a CFO, stated recently that we usually raise our prices twice a year, and that's why we continue to do so. So they say it's kind of normal course of business.
Right.
But it's certainly way higher than normal inflation.
Right. And I think a lot of people forget about this. People who aren't, I guess, female or into luxury. I was talking to my friend today, and he was talking about like buying this coffee grinder for $1,500, and I was like, I don't understand. That's so expensive. He's like, but you have all these fancy handbags, and I was like, yeah, but does your like coffee grinder appreciate in value? Like, is it an investment?
They do.
And like of course our bags do, but like that doesn't. So like for him it's like, oh, like you're spending money recklessly, but no, it's actually an investment. And like taking a step back and looking at, the things that we like, which won't maybe seem like an investment at first glance, and thinking about it long term, it's really a good investment, and looking at just the returns too and the appreciation.
I mean, yeah, your returns doubled in 4 years, so that's pretty damn
exactly.
good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't really think of anything on that level of any alternative asset class. I don't think like I can think of like my Vanguard account certainly doesn't do that, even though it being considered maybe more responsible.
Right.
And I don't know. I think like these things that are classically female, even though they actually are great investments, are maybe denigrated by society, even though they depreciate, which is, I mean, these things are really actually fairly valuable. And that kind of goes into, the secondhand market too. But there's others as well, like Bottega Veneta and Loewe. Like, I don't know if you want to talk about those, but I think those are super interesting too.
Yeah. I think Bottega definitely is having its moment. Maybe, honestly, not in 24. It might be a little bit out. But I remember like 2 years. Oh, yes, exactly.
It's a fake, but like, it's all right. It's all right.
I remember like 2 years ago, like the green Jody started being a thing, and I saw it everywhere. And like, of course, I knew what the brand was, but I didn't have a bag. Like, I don't think any of my friends had bags, from Bottega. And I think they did really well in terms of, coming back into style. Of course, Chanel, Louis, those brands are classic and timeless. But I think Bottega's doing really well. Loewe is doing really well. I also didn't know how to pronounce that for a long time. But I have a couple things from them. And I think these are just brands that we should be looking at, other than just the classics. And, maybe a couple years down the line, like these bags will triple in value too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm thinking back to even in college. I remember one of my friends, for her birthday, her parents got her Bottega bag, and it wasn't popular there. And so at that time, and she was really disappointed because she wanted a Chanel. But now I'm sure it's probably so trendy, and it honestly probably has gone up so much in value. Like, I have no idea it was worth in 2016, but way less.
And the green is like so exclusive.
So like, exclusive now.
They only make a couple, so
which is
you're
crazy.
Not. Yeah. If you see a green, it's probably like not.
It's real exclusive. I know
exactly.
But yeah, it's like you think about it, and it's like really Bottega did a really great job with like making green like a color of the year, which I feel like they did, which they totally brought that back.
Yeah.
And like also green is just so emblematic of like money and success, which is really interesting. And like even like colorology, I think around that is kind of an interesting study. But then too, making that exclusive and making that like crazy marketing drive really helped. So, and really helped them kind of bring them back to like the forefront of fashion, which is pretty cool.
Exactly.
So it's like, it is really about like, is it like this false sort of exclusivity that makes it worth it, which is interesting. But yeah, we can also, luxury also just isn't just bags or things, it's beauty too. And beauty obviously runs like social media.
Huge market.
And it's the biggest and fastest growing segment too in luxury. From skincare technologies. Yeah. Like, I mean, I've like almost bought the red light mask like 10
my gosh,
times.
the LED one.
The LED. Oh my God. My dermatologist says it works, but like it's so crazy that I can't like bring myself to do it, but I really do want to.
It's like in my saved, I go to Therabody and I'm like, I need to buy this.
Yes, exactly. And I think too, especially, which I thought was really interesting. So children or like young teens from 12 to 18, like their most popular requests for Christmas were beauty products, which was crazy. Which has never happened that children that young have invested in their beauty routine much.
I started wearing makeup like in high school.
And like barely. Like I didn't wear foundation definitely until college.
Yeah,
for
I think
sure.
it was college. I think I did mascara.
Yeah, and like,
like
concealer or something.
Yeah.
And like lip gloss, but something like
I
did not
had
look
no
good.
idea what blush was. I did not know what contour was
Yeah.
until maybe like 2 years ago.
Honestly, yeah, literally. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy. And, you know, I think that's really up too, of just like Gen Z, and they have a completely different idea
Right.
of fashion and beauty. You know, I think about like a lot of these kind of get ready with me's and like Rush
Yes.
Talk. It's super interesting.
Oh my gosh, it's fascinating. we have to talk about Rush Talk and Get Ready with Me's because I love TikTok. I spend so much time on it. And it's just fascinating how much influence these teens usually have
Yeah.
on, you know, the economy. Because like
crazy.
Alex Earl, for example, she got famous by doing Get Ready with Me's. Every single product she uses sells out in Sephora instantly.
Which is insane.
I really think she like put Charlotte Tilbury on the map. Like
She did.
I tried to go buy the highlighter. It was all sold out.
Crazy.
It's a huge market. Like people really discount like TikTokers or social
Yeah.
media for not having this much impact. But these brands really rely on, you know, TikTok and social media for marketing now too.
Oh yeah, and like influencers make so much money on affiliate
Yes,
marketing, like so
do.
much money and
Yeah.
so much partnership. That's
Yeah.
really fascinating. And it is like there has been nothing like this before. Like, yes, there was advertising, and yes, obviously there have been celebrities who were influential, of course, and like plenty of icons of fashion, you know, from like Jackie O to
Right.
like to today. But there's nothing like the level of direct consumerism and purchasing that exists today, like
No.
TikTok. Like
Yeah.
the fact that literally, you know, this one girl can use this foundation
Yeah.
once and instantly sells out
Yeah.
is just unparalleled.
Yeah.
It really is, and untouched. And it's just continuing to kind of fuel this market. And it shows too today, which is crazy. It's like, you know, it has never been cheaper than today to buy stuff. Like consumer items are like, in terms of affordability, it is cheaper and easier because of just the level of manufacturing and access.
Yeah.
And like direct to consumer, honestly, has like decreased a lot of beauty products without like upcharging in salons.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has never been harder to afford big purchases,
Yes.
like a house and a car.
Right.
So it's really, it's like
That's
an,
very
and it's
interesting.
an interesting parallel of just like this fuel of consumerism, continued buying of these beauty products. I don't really know how it's going to affect the next generation. I think
Right.
of like us rushing, like how different that was, you know, whatever it was, 2014
Mm-hmm.
to now. Like, can you, like, I don't even know if I wore makeup to rush. Like, you know,
I don't think
I don't
so.
even know. I think about what I wore and everything.
No.
And like, I think it was actually probably less superficial
Yes.
than it is today. Even though
Yes.
Rush is obviously superficial, of course. Like, and you know, there's flaws to it, like of
Yeah.
course. But like, there was so much less expectation in social media,
Right.
and our social media was like so minimal back then, right? Like it really
We, like
was.
barely had. I mean, we had Instagram,
Instagrams, but I had like one post and it was
Right.
like a group photo on a beach or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it was like, which one is she? Like, honestly. And
with
it's-
a filter.
With like a filter.
Like a
and it's like
sepia
kind of
filter.
crazy because it's like, it, you know, it's like coming from high school and everything. I don't know. It's pretty wild. And like, they even did, like Bama Rush TV show.
Yes.
So crazy.
Yes. And I'm currently on SMU Rush Talk.
Oh my God. Tell me more.
And these girls literally, they do their OOTDs.
Okay.
And they all have Rolexes. They all have a lady date dress. And I'm like, you are 17.
What?
You are in college.
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
Literally.
And why do you have that on?
Yeah.
And like they'll be like pairing it with like Zara or like, you know, just like normal clothes. And they'll be like, oh, like my Rolex is like 40K, my Van Cleef. And I'm like, oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God.
But like that really fuels everything too.
It does.
Like, I
It
mean,
does.
at that age.
And it also makes probably girls feel like who can't afford that, obviously, which is a lot, that they
Right.
can't even rush. It makes them
Yeah.
maybe feel like so inferior that they don't even go
Yes.
into it, and maybe attracting the wrong person.
Yes.
That kind of fuels it too, which is crazy. Like, I mean, I don't know. Also, where are they buying these things? Like, there aren't even that many. Like, I'm just like,
No,
whatever.
you
But
can't
I'm
just
like,
go
are they
in and buy
faking
one.
it? I'm like, are some of these fake or something? Which, like, in
Maybe.
all honesty, I'm like, I feel like maybe we should question it.
Never
'Cause
know, yeah.
because I mean, I don't know. There is like so many like good fakes out there.
Yes.
And it wouldn't be a dumb thing to like
Right.
try to get into a sorority to buy some, you know?
Right.
And to flaunt it like it was real. And
Right.
I don't know, it's hard to tell on the online.
Yeah. And I'm sure all these brands are capitalizing on that.
Capitalizing on it too.
you
And it's like
know?
it's super interesting. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe they just aren't fake, but I'm like, are all these college
knows?
students have freaking $40,000 Rolexes? That's kind of insane.
Yeah. You're literally 18.
Yeah, like literally
What are you gonna wear that to a frat party?
Yeah, like where
You're gonna
what
lose
is-
it.
Yeah. Like I'm
You
just
wear
like,
it to Phi Cap.
I'm like, also, where do you need to be, girl? Like, do you really need to watch?
Right.
Like, where do you need to be? You're like,
Yes.
literally, you have like class at like 12 p.m.
Yeah, you have, like, 2
You don't need to be
classes.
places. Yeah, you have a phone, okay? Like, literally, what? You need like a diamond encrusted Rolex to tell you where to be?
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. To wear with like your Lulu
Like, your
leggings. Like,
leggings.
I'm
Like,
so confused.
also, like, you're literally gonna smash that. Like, when you're
They're gonna lose it.
They're gonna lose it. Like, I lost fucking everything. And
I
I
lost
didn't, thankfully,
everything.
I didn't have anything expensive in college, but like, I lost fucking everything. Like, the only expensive thing I had was probably like my Canada Goose. And I think
I lost my Canada Goose.
I lost
once.
my Canada Goose.
I'm
I
like,
lost
how do
two
I
Canada Geese.
lose?
All right, my Canada geese. Sorry, and like I literally, my mom like got so mad. She bought me a child
Oh my
Canada
gosh.
Goose. Like she was like, literally, this is
gonna
half the
lose
price.
it.
Like
Yeah.
have this extra large child, and it
Right.
like did not fit me. Like, but you know, I'm like, I have no idea. But it is
that's
crazy.
So crazy. Yeah.
The children.
The children, the influence of social media. Like, I think a lot of brands, as I mentioned, like, are capitalizing on this. Like,
Yeah.
for example, Hailey Bieber's brand Rhode
Oh,
sent
yeah.
me this. They had like this strawberry glaze lip gloss.
Oh yeah,
that came out
Super
maybe
popular.
like 6 months ago.
That's like her when she wore the red dress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Justin was dressed
Was that
like
like
a
a homeless
dud
human being?
because, which I think that might honestly have been a marketing ploy
It
because
was
a
a-
number of Halloween outfits.
So many Halloween outfits.
Yeah.
And like that like photo was so iconic.
so
honestly.
iconic. But and classic Justin.
Justin
Hailey.
has it. And also Justin was like, all I have to do is literally look like a derp. Like,
Right.
great.
But, like, I'm Justin
Fantastic.
Bieber.
A plus. Yeah.
Anyway, but I have a food blog, and of course I don't do anything like beauty fashion related, but I guess their PR team like got a hold of my email, and they sent me a couple of the lip glosses to try.
Really?
And I was so excited, and like I probably would have bought it after seeing it on social media, but this made me like more, intrigued by the brand, and I've never really used Rhode before, and now I buy more of her stuff. So it's definitely a really great marketing technique too.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I think also what's interesting too with influencers, I've read a lot that it says like smaller influencers are actually more influential sometimes.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, which is
Being
really
one myself.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Yeah, it's actually less than 1%. It's like less than 1% of influencers have more than 1 million followers, and actually a lot of like smaller influencers have a lot more loyal followings,
Yeah.
way more engagement,
Yeah.
and are like viewed as significantly more authentic.
Mm.
And so actually there may be even like larger sales from that, which is super interesting.
Yeah, you're welcome, Haley. You call me.
I love it. I love it. Great. And kind of shifting our focus, I want to also delve a little bit into, the resale market as well, which is so interesting. Like
yes.
Birkins, I feel like are the top
my
of
gosh.
that. And kind of the worlds of kind of luxury and investment really kind of intersect.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, the resale market is definitely booming. There's rising production costs and supply restrictions. So I think supply might just be plateauing. But as we talked about, demand is, of course, increasing. And so I think just going back to our Chanel example, I read somewhere that a vintage Chanel bag from 1960s is being sold right now for like $6-7K.
Which is crazy because in 1955, they were $280.
Yes.
And which is around 2,000 or 3,000 today.
Yes.
So literally from 1955 to today, it's doubling the investment,
Right.
and it's a freaking bag from 40 years ago. Or,
Right.
sorry, 60 years ago.
Right.
Now.
And that goes
Insane.
back to show, like, yes, this is a pretty bag, but it's also an investment.
Yeah.
I mean, like the real, it's not that much cheaper if I'm looking at, these classic luxury goods.
Not.
And so it's definitely a huge market to be tapped into too.
Oh yeah, and I feel like there's been a huge growth of like these luxury resale platforms
Mm-hmm.
of everything from like what goes around comes around. Rebag's a really big one,
Yes.
and even like Goodwill started its
Yes.
own luxury resale market, which is crazy.
did they?
Which is super interesting. So
Wow.
they started that back, I think, in the beginning of 2023 or maybe end of 2022.
Wow.
And which is honestly so smart because people are just giving away shit. And like they're moving or whatever, and they're like, wow, we should capitalize on what is being donated, which is
Right.
really fascinating. But I think the biggest issue, I guess the biggest issue with the resale market is you never really know if it's real or not.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of scandals around fraud too, which is really, really interesting. You know, I don't know. So I feel like there's going to be, I feel like honestly, we're heading on the helm of some sort of scandal. Like there's going to be some couple or something that like totally takes advantage of the resale market and makes fake luxury goods.
Yes.
Honestly.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm
That
just
could
calling
happen.
it now.
Yes.
I'm calling it now. There's going to be a fucking HBO series on it. For sure. Anna Delvey.
Anna
but like
Delvey.
way more interesting. Maybe I'm getting Anna Delvey ideas. Like I'm
Oh my
not really
gosh.
sure.
She's gonna listen to
She's
this
gonna
pod
listen to it
and
like,
be
great. My next
great.
con
Exactly.
is this. Like honestly.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I've sold a bunch of things, maybe like a handful of things,
Yeah.
under 10, on the Real. And of course, like the process is really seamless. Like it was
is.
such an easy process.
It's awesome.
I didn't make any money off of it, but they came to my apartment, picked
Yeah.
it up, and left. They authenticated it and
Totally.
then put it on the market. I could
Yeah.
see who's like looking at it.
They have a great app too.
It's great.
They do. I mean, their process is great coming. I haven't sold anything like actually expensive. I sold like just clothes, honestly, mostly. And that's true. You make like $40 on like
Yeah.
a shirt that's like 400.
Yeah,
but it's like it's
exactly.
fine. Like honestly, I'm like I would have thrown it away anyway.
Yeah.
So it's something. And I think like if you I did read God, what's her name? What is the name of John Legend's wife again? I forget. You know what I'm talking-
Chrissy Teigen.
Oh, Chrissy Teigen. Sorry. Yeah, that was bad. But Chrissy Teigen, she like sells all of her dresses in the runway on Real, which is super interesting.
way.
Yeah, she was like, because she used to be
Wow.
sample size, now she's not, and she sells all of her dresses after red carpets,
Right.
Which is pretty interesting. She probably makes a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
So a lot of celebrities take advantage of it too.
Wow, I would love to buy Chrissy Teigen's dress.
I know she's so beautiful and awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, and I think there's also kind of an interesting parallel with crypto here because luxury goods and cryptocurrencies are seen as kind of alternative investments, and there
Yes.
are interesting ways of reselling it. You know, there's obviously really interesting crypto trade platforms. There's also crypto has always been this idea of bringing money kind of away from ties to the banks, and it's also like an access thing. And luxury sort of like resale kind of has that edge too, where it's
Right.
like luxury resale has the potential of being able to sort of access like these luxury items that maybe are being sold for less or
Yeah.
like exclusivity and kind
Right.
of opens it up to the masses, which is attractive and interesting. And
Right.
and it's a way to obviously get, it's obviously a really liquid investment,
Yeah.
like crypto too, which is
Right.
why it's really attractive, unlike a stock or a bond or portfolio.
And it's like art too. Like,
Yeah,
isn't there's definitely a bunch of marketplaces.
Yeah, for sure.
That sell art, right?
Absolutely.
Using
I mean,
crypto.
obviously there's like traditional like pathways of art sales, like
Yeah.
food Sotheby's and everything, but there's tons of, art has always been, an investment from the rich for sure of honestly for like tax avoidance. But it's also for something that's like liquid and can be sold.
Right.
And there's like beauty to it. It's also trends. Like there are trends in art, like there are trends in fashion, which is also really interesting. That kind of comes in and out of style as well. And then there's some classics.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe one day.
Exactly. Maybe one day. Well, great. Well, I think, kind of as we wrap up today's kind of journey through the world of luxury, I think it's clear it's more than just, a sector. I think it's a phenomenon from Chanel to, beauty. Luxury continues to really kind of capture your audience with its kind of blend of maybe iconic traditional items and also its ability to kind of adapt to the younger consumer
Right.
generation.
Yeah, I think it's a really good intersection of social media, what we're seeing in marketing, and how these big traditional companies that typically rely on traditional marketing channels and strategies can really leverage and capitalize on. And it's definitely an industry where it'll be growing, and hopefully we can learn some lessons there along the way that's transferable and remind people again that crypto is not the only investment strategy that you guys should be thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. So when anyone complains about buying a Chanel bag, just say it's a really smart investment because seriously, Sola has already doubled in 4
Yes,
years.
men.
Calculate that IRR. It's definitely hard to beat.
When your girlfriend or wife wants to buy one, you buy her
you
one.
buy her one because it appreciates.
Yes.
And it's also appreciated.
Yes. Love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in to Women's Play. We hope you enjoyed this kind of deep dive into luxury. And maybe next time we'll talk about, some influencer, celebrity-led brands.
Yes.
Maybe Build on Road be a good one.
Yes, Rode, Skims,
Fenty, it's crazy.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Well, thank you all for listening. Stay curious and keep exploring. You can follow us on Women's Flame
Pod. Women's Flame Pod. All right.
Okay.